been quite a time, Andy, since 2017.
Yeah.
We 3 years in a row, just absolutely heartbreaking losses. 2017 special Cinderella story, went as far as we could get, made it to Game 7 of the ALCS, and it was a tough day for CC
Against the team that shall not be named.
Oh yes, but we're gonna get it into
we will get to that team as well, because I don't like their prospects this year.
Nope. And so 18 tough loss running into a Red Sox team that just wouldn't lose. 2019 cheaters again hit us at the buzzer. And obviously 17 with the trash can. The 2020, it was just the way I would describe it. It's just, I mean, they just outplayed us at the end. They just beat us. They
put the bat on the ball. Like they put the bat on the ball.
And we did
not. And we did not.
So like I said, so through these years, through these tough playoff losses year after year, have had the same core of players, the Yankees, your Judge, your Sanchez's, your Glabers, adding now Chapman to the mix, adding Chapman and now Cole. A lot of people say LeMahieu, this could be the final year to have this core, because now everyone's due money at once. That's the one thing about these numbers.
Everybody needs to get paid. That that baby bomber core is on. It's on the clock. It's on the clock. So this is definitely the year for the Yankees, and I know we've said that the last couple of years, but this year. This year is the year.
What makes you say that different? What's the difference this year compared to the other ones?
I mean, our lineup the last couple of years, it hasn't changed much. It's been a 1 through 9 of absolute barn beaters. You don't want to face this lineup. It's just when in the playoffs, contact becomes so crucial, we have had our issues when it has counted. Along with that, I think the staff, which we'll get into, is far more. The word stable is not really the word I want to use, but we have a lot more options this year. And everybody seems to count out Luis Severino, who I know is coming off of a Tommy John. But even if we get him back at 80%, 85% of what he was arguably a top 5 American League pitcher before he got hurt. And I think with him not having the burden of being the ace on this roster, he can really shine. Also, Domingo Germán coming back from his suspension, I think that he is very key to the Yankees' success this year. He had a very good year prior to that 2020 suspension. And I really hope this is the year that Jameson Taillon realizes his incredible potential.
Yeah, hitting on the rotation. So the biggest acquisitions off this offseason besides DJ was one former Cy Young Award winner, Corey Kluber's on the team.
Didn't even mention Corey.
And now we have Jameson Taillon. Why don't you talk to me and your expectations from the two big starting pitchers?
I think it's very key that they can learn and play with Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is an alpha. He is going to win every 5th day. And knowing that, having the freedom for Kluber and Taillon not to be the number one guy, which, I mean, Taillon's a very young, he's young, and he was arguably the number one guy for Pittsburgh prior to the injury. That's because the Pittsburgh team is atrocious. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, Kluber's big. Kluber pitched a Game 7 of a World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kluber's an ex-Cy Young winner. And honestly, there's something about the look, He shaves the beard, and all of a sudden he has a nice, clean look of about 17 wins on him. I really think he. I'm looking at like a 17-8 for Corey Kluber this year.
Really?
You think he's going to bounce back that much?
Yeah, I do. I think he bounces back. I think the ERA is still around 4, probably 4.1, 4.2. But I think this Yankee team is good enough to get him over 15 wins. I really do.
And the big thing about Kluber, he's a big sinker baller. That's his signature pitch.
Lots of broken bats coming to Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm. Who are some of the position players that you haven't mentioned already that really are excited for you? Do you feel Judge and Stanton? We know their injury history. Do you think Judge now switching up No more lifting, all yoga, calisthenics, save with Stanton.
I love
You
it.
feel this is the year they're going to be healthy?
God, could you imagine? Like, honestly, at this point, it would be a blessing if they stayed healthy. I hope they do, but it would be a blessing because could you just imagine? It's quite a murderer's row once you get into that Yankee lineup. First, you got to start with DJ LeMahieu, who's, I mean, he's good for 25 home runs as it is in a plus 300 average. He's a tough out. Then you go
clutch
on.
Too.
Yeah, he is very clutch. And then you have to deal with Judge. You have to deal with Stanton. And that protection, I think awards here, Mike, obviously the key players this year, there's a couple. Gleyber Torres has to get back on track. He was absolutely electric up until last year. And you know what? I think a lot of people could say 60 games over a season isn't a true baseball season, and the law of averages would have probably evened out a bunch of statistics for some players last season. I think Pete Alonso would have had a higher average. There's things to be said for 60 games compared to 162.
Gleyber also has to improve his fielding too. He has to a lot of errors.
Yeah, big year in the field for Gleyber Torres. But and Gary Sanchez. I think Gary Sanchez, every report out of Yankee camp for the last 3 years has been that Gary Sanchez is the best natural hitter on that team. And it hasn't showed. It has not showed, but every single report has been that. So it's in there. And, he came to the Yankees as a 16-year-old, and he's been with the Yankees his entire career. I would love to see Gary Sanchez get going. I think when he's locked in, he's the best hitting catcher in baseball, with much respect to still JT Realmuto, who's very good at baseball. But Dreiky Sanchez could be that guy. Also, Clint Frazier finally getting his spot. They brought back Gardner, but Clint Frazier is going to be the starter in that position. His bat speed, legendary, according to Brian Cashman. You all know how we feel about Brian Cashman. And he's a ginger. So we love that for the vibe, for the squad. But yeah, so on the position players, those are my 3 key position players for the Yankees. Because I honestly think Stanton's gonna mash. Like if Stanton,
he had a great playoff. He did have a great playoff.
He looked he was the most dangerous player on the field in the playoffs. Even though we lost that series, he was the most dangerous person in that box. And I really do think if he plays 140 games, he hits 45 to 50 home runs, like not even really with not much effort. Same with Judge.
That's all we ask.
They're just really yeah, it's all we ask is just for them to stay on the field. It's always been, again, that has been our kryptonite, has been staying on the field, whether it be Severino, whether it be Judge, whether it be Stanton. Take your pick. Aaron Hicks, last year, you could take your pick with all of our pitching. It's tough. And Zach Britton, again, this year. But I'm just excited for baseball. And, the fact that the Yankees and the Mets are good, what else can we do? We just get to sit and watch some history happen. And dear God, keep the injuries away. Also, one last point is that the medical staff was new last year for the Yankees. And on average, you start seeing the results of a new medical staff the second year after they're installed. So we had a lot of injuries last year. So hopefully the medical staff
next man up
a little better this year. And hopefully, dear God, we can only hope.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is Gary Sanchez probably has the most to prove out of every player in the entire league. Obviously, intense criticism has gone his way. People complain about sometimes his integrity, but it seems that really stepped up. He went to do winter ball this year on his own merit. I think he genuinely knows how this is. Literally, he might not have, no team might want, if he is bad one more time, it's going to be tough for him to find a job.
If he's on the interstate again this year, he's not going to have a professional baseball contract. Even with the raw power, you have to hit 240, 230 at least, and you're capable of that. He is capable of that.
And we know he has probably arguably one of the best arms throwing people down as well, but he's had his problems of pass balls and stuff that has to be intensely fixed. But we were playing Austin Romine in the playoffs last year. Yeah, you mean Kyle Higashioka?
Excuse me, Kyle Higashioka.
Yeah.
Austin Romine was on Detroit last year.
Higgy started. He outright wrote the job. So
and like
that had to motivate him.
But it's okay. He did a great job, by the way. Higashioka is a wonderful backup catcher.
Definitely. It seems like he'll be Cole's personal catcher. It looks like again.
Yeah, it does look like
except
that.
for opening day. And so like I asked Alex, and again, Alex, if you want to chime in as well, what are your final thoughts on the Yankees as a whole coming into this season? We know the excitement of baseball as a whole, but the final things on the Yankees as a whole.
It's key to get off to a good start. I think it's both for the Yankees and the Mets. You want to get off to a good start. You want to start on top of your division and just build the gap from there. I think the Yankees have some teams in the AL East, the Blue Jays and the Rays, that will have a lot to say about winning games this year. I think the Rays and the Jays are hungry, and I think the Yankees need to come with that Savage's fire. We don't want to, everyone knows that everyone can read any name on that lineup, and you know what they're supposed to do. They just got to walk the walk now and be that team.